So who's going to be shogun now that the Minamoto line is extinct? Well, remember Yoritomo's wife? Her name was Masako. She was a member of the Hojo family. So she has a good idea. She says, we can't just stop the Kamakura shogunate. And, yes, the shoguns have to be from the Minamoto family, but because the Minamoto clan is extinct, who's the next best thing? Let's go to the imperial family. So let's give the title of shogun to imperial princes. Okay, so obviously you cannot give the title of shogun to an emperor, right? But the emperor has many, many younger siblings, and these younger siblings have no chance of ever becoming emperor. So a lot of them would become monks. Because what are you going to do if you're in the palace all day? You can't be emperor, you can't be retired emperor, so you got to be a Buddhist monk, right? So Masako says, let's ask the imperial family to give us some of their younger sons, who are not going to be the heirs, and let's invite them to Kamakura, and they will become shoguns. Okay? But these young imperial princes have no idea about political power. They're aristocrats. They have no idea about military power. So let's just invite them to Kamakura. They're going to be puppet shoguns. Puppet shogun means they have no real power. They're just there for the title. They're there for the ceremony, to sign their name on a paper, on an edict or something that is issued. Who's going to have the real power in this government? Well, it's going to be the Hojo family, okay? The Hojo declare themselves as Hojo regents, okay? Remember, the Hojo are the family of Minamoto no Yoritomo's wife, who are very active in Kamakura. So these Hojo regents are going to be the actual people who are in charge of ruling the country and governing the Kamakura shogunate. They're going to be the rulers of the Kamakura shogunate, even though they're not the shoguns. The shoguns are the imperial princes I just talked about. They'll be living in Kamakura, and they're just going to be signing papers and basically looking pretty. They have no other role other than ceremonial. The real people who are going to be dictating government policy and making decisions and governing the provinces are the Hojo family as regents. What system does this remind you of? Well, it's very similar to the Heian period. Okay, remember during the Heian period, you had the emperors were basically figureheads, ceremonial positions, and then you had the Fujiwara regents, who were the ones really running the show and making political policy. Same thing is happening in the Kamakura period. Now the shoguns are the figureheads, right? And the Hojo regents, the Hojo family, are the ones running the show behind the scenes. Okay, so the Kamakura government is very interesting because basically from 1219 until the end of the Kamakura period in 1333, the Hojo clan is officially ruling Japan. But they're really ruling from behind the scenes because it's like a very interesting system where you have an emperor in Kyoto who is a figurehead, right? You have a shogun in Kamakura who is also a figurehead, and then who's really running the show? The Hojo regents. So it's like you have to unlayer who's really the leader behind the scenes, right? You have an emperor, but he has no power. Then you have the shogun, who's supposed to be the real ones running the show. They have no power either. It's really the Hojo family. So the Hojo are very smart to come up with this system. Unfortunately for the Hojo, the imperial family says, you know what, we don't like this new system, okay? And remember Emperor Gotoba, who was a young kid when he became emperor following the death of his half-brother Antoku, who was taken by the Taira and drowned. Gotoba is now all grown up, so he's a retired emperor in his own right. His son has become the emperor, and he is the retired emperor. So in 1221, just 2 years after this Hojo regency system was initiated, Gotoba decides, you know what, I want to restore power to the imperial family and the Kyoto aristocrats. I think that I am going to get rid of this shogunate. The Minamoto are gone. I don't care who the Hojo are. I don't even know who they are. I'm going to get power back for the imperial family. And this is because Gotoba and the Kyoto aristocrats as well, they didn't like how Japan had basically become an aristocratic society. They said, this is not, I don't know what the samurai nation is, but we want power back for ourselves. So retired Emperor Gotoba begins a rebellion, and he decides to overthrow the Kamakura shogunate. So he has a good idea because he declares the Hojo regents to be imperial rebels. And he says, if you are okay with this family going against the gods, going against the imperial family, then I'm assembling troops in Kyoto. We're going to march from Kyoto to Kamakura, overthrow the Kamakura shogunate, and bring power back to the divine imperial family. So he does begin to assemble troops in the capital city of Kyoto. But before Gotoba and his army can go to Kamakura, the Hojo regents quickly attack Kyoto. They come down to Kyoto from Kamakura and they attack with many, many, many troops. And remember, the aristocrats aren't that good at fighting, so the Hojo very, very easily defeat retired Emperor Gotoba's army, and Gotoba is exiled to a faraway island. Remember, the imperial family cannot be touched, so Gotoba cannot be executed, but he's exiled to a faraway island. And the Kamakura regime, the Hojo regents, they can't get rid of the imperial family because they're divine. So what they do is they say, you know what, let's get rid of the emperor, Gotoba's son, and retired Emperor Gotoba. We'll have Gotoba's grandson become the next emperor. He's a kid, and we will watch him very carefully. But basically, the imperial family, if they had a little bit of power left before, now they officially have zero power. And not only do they have zero power, they're completely a ceremonial position now. The Hojo regents send a representative to Kyoto, who is going to be in charge of the city of Kyoto only, basically to keep an eye on the aristocrats and keep an eye on the imperial family to make sure this never ever happens again. So we've been talking about the warrior class and the samurai class and the Kamakura regime being centered around the samurai class. But who were they? Who were the samurai warriors? Well, they were powerful men from specific warrior families. Remember, these warrior families trained for their entire lives to fight effectively and to basically demonstrate their skills of honor, loyalty, and warrior skills in battle. Okay, and as I mentioned before, the relationship between lord and vassal was very important in samurai culture. Okay, if you're a vassal, you basically will live and die for your lord. Okay, his honor comes before yours, really. And if you're going to be loyal and you serve your lord for the rest of your life, your lord will reward you with land and with money, with a stipend, and with all many, many good things if you are loyal to him. If you go against your lord, end of your life. Okay, so basically it's built on loyalty, honor, and service. And of course, samurai were very, very brave. They considered honor above all else. And if you were captured and killed by your enemy, this was dishonorable. You could never face your ancestors in your next life. And so you would rather commit seppuku, which is called ritual suicide. You would rather commit, ritual suicide, which, as I mentioned, is cutting your belly, right? And before you were captured by the enemy. And some people call this harakiri, but in Japanese, seppuku is the proper term. So it's more honorable to kill yourself this way than to be caught by the enemy. So this revolt by the imperial family was called the Jokey Revolt of 1221, and after the Kamakura shogunate won, the Hojo regents won, they made sure to reward their warriors for what they did. Okay, and this is very, very important because essentially the Hojo regents would take the land of aristocrats who had allied with Gotoba. Remember, a lot of aristocratic families, they wanted power back for the imperial family, so they would ally themselves with retired Emperor Gotoba. So what the Hojo regents did is they took this land from the aristocrats and gave it to the samurai, gave it to the warriors who had fought with them during the Jokey Revolt. So this really raises morale for the Hojo. And the Hojo, nobody really knew about them before. It was a small family in Kamakura. But now samurai from all over the country really like the Hojo because they're getting land. You fought for us, we'll give you land. So they really like it.